And then as we got up and we walked out, got in the elevator, and Kylee collapsed. She lost all control of her legs and her neck.
Welcome to another episode on Straight to Your Health, a podcast about your health. We want you to learn something new about healing and your body. My name is Dr. Gavin Hall with Straight Up, the owner of Straight Up Chiropractic here in St. George, Utah. Welcome to any listeners out there. We hope that you learn something new. Today, I have two guests on air with me. They've both had great experiences in the office with treatment. One particularly had a great experience with care, and I had asked her to share her story and maybe how the treatment wasn't what she thought it was. She's invited her mother along with her to be part of us, but welcome, Kylee. And I forget your name. I apologize.
That's okay. I'm Stephanie.
Stephanie. Welcome, Kylee and Stephanie. Let's go ahead and tell me a little bit about yourselves before we get to the story.
Okay. I am a 15-year-old, and I go to Dixie High School, and I'm involved in cheer, and I'm the vice president in FCCLA for the state of Utah. And yeah.
Okay.
All the fun things.
Yes.
Stephanie, what about you?
Mother of four and busy running all these children everywhere. So, yeah.
That's exciting. And how long have you been here in St. George?
I moved up right after going to graduating high school. So I married my husband, and we've been here ever since. So we've been here about 20 years.
Okay, so you're very familiar then with St. George, its growth, the different kind of changing aspects of what used to be a small town.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate you being here with me and being willing to share this awesome story. Why don't you go ahead and share a little bit about it?
All right. So back in August, I've always dreamed of being like a cheerleader. I've done gymnastics for my entire life, and I've just wanted something more out of it. And so in August, we had the opportunity to try out for cheer. And thankfully, I made the team, which was super awesome and just like a dream come true. And because of my height, I was able to become a flyer. And so that's the one that they throw up in the air. And after like the second week of flying, like I was learning how to do everything, and I got dropped on my back 2 times in a row by like 2 different stunt groups. And I didn't have like major signs of concussion or anything. I was just super sore landing on my back, my head and stuff, but like nothing super severe. So I just kept going with everything.
They do have that, like, 2-inch pad, right, on the gym floor to make sure you don't fully...
Thankfully, it wasn't just the gym floor, the concrete.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. And then fast forward a few months, we flew to Disneyland as a cheer team. And while I was there, I was sitting and eating lunch, so not doing anything crazy, not riding on roller coasters. And I just noticed that my heart rate was just like super high. I could just feel it. And so I called my mom, and she's like, just drink more water. Like, you're probably dehydrated. Like,
typical teenager, right?
Yes.
You just went on a roller coaster. Like, take a breath, calm down a little bit.
Yes. So I looked at my watch, and it said that my heart rate was at like 117. So quite like pretty high, but I just like drank some more water, just tried to calm down and stuff. And then I flew home, and the morning I woke up, I was super dizzy. Like the walls were just like spinning constantly around me, and like, yeah. And then I also had like this terrible migraine that would not go away, and that went on for a long, long time. So we went to like the doctor, and they just said, well, you can come back in a month if you're still dizzy. And we're like,
a month? How can you function being dizzy for a month? That's terrible.
Well, I imagine in their mind they're going, well, kind of like you thought.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it just takes time for the body to heal. It'll kind of run its own course. I assume that's what their train of thought was.
Maybe, but how a month? Yeah.
So they sent us to like multiple, after we pushed a little, got sent to multiple different doctors trying to like determine if it was like vertigo or if they tested me for POTS. They tested me, or they thought my like crystals, my ears were off. So we got sent to ear, nose, and throat doctor here in St. George. And
they did hearing tests. Her hearing was awesome. They did other multiple vertigo tests, tipped her upside down, moved her head different directions. Nothing seemed to increase her vertigo or her dizziness, but it didn't help it either.
And at this point, then, nothing other than the migraines and vertigo was there, correct?
Right, correct,
okay.
yes.
Yep.
Okay.
And the migraine wasn't there all the time, right, Kylee?
It was like, I'd say it was there every day, but it wouldn't last the whole day. There were some days that it was like all day, but others that it was just a portion.
Not completely debilitating.
Yeah.
They referred us to a physical therapist who has an Epley chair. Which the Epley maneuver is to help realign the crystals. They thought maybe that was out with going on roller coasters and flying, which can be common.
Sure.
So went to the physical therapy, strapped her in this chair. She looks really cute, all strapped in. They tipped her upside down and ran a vibrator right here on the back of her neck to kind of help those crystals get back to where they're supposed to be. It was pretty awesome to watch the whole procedure in and of itself. And then as we got up and we walked out, got in the elevator, and Kylee collapsed. She lost all control of her legs and her neck. And I was literally just holding her up. At the time, we thought maybe she's just more dizzy. You get more dizzy before you get better. We'll just take her home, see how things go. Looking back now, I should have taken her right back up and said, why can't she hold her legs up? Why can't? And I think we could have progressed things a little quicker, but we had no idea.
Sure.
So we took her to grandma's house, so she wasn't alone, not being able to walk. We weren't sure what was going to happen as far as recovery. And I came home from work 5 hours later, and she still couldn't walk.
Now, at any point in this, were you like, Kylee, quit messing around, like get up?
There were some individuals in our family who maybe thought she was faking it.
But from your perspective in the elevator even, did you go,
no.
Was it obvious that she just couldn't do anything?
Very obvious. I'm driving in the car and I'm having to push her head back like a baby because I'd go to stop at the stop sign and her head had flopped forward.
Wow.
It was terrifying. Like as a mother, I'm just like, you could walk 5 minutes ago. What just happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty scary. So after my mom got home from work, we decided that we should probably go to the ER to see if something like happened and isn't right, because I should be able to walk by now. And so we went there and I told my story to everyone I came in contact with. And they did like blood tests. They did a CT scan. And when they took me in for the CT scan, my mom had originally told them like, she cannot walk. Like,
I was very clear to the nurse. I'm like, you're going to have to help her.
Yeah.
She can't walk.
Yeah. So they took me into the other room and they slid my bed like close to the other, to like the CT bed, you know?
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, get up on the bed. And then both nurses just like left the room. We're like, oh, okay. So I looked like a fat like whale trying to get onto this bed because my legs aren't working. And at this point, my right arm had like stopped working too. So I was just like using my left hand trying to roll myself over. My neck wasn't working. It was really cute to watch, I'm sure.
So at that point, it's like the nurses didn't believe her either.
Sure.
Like we're in the emergency room and we're telling them she can't walk. And the nurse was like, man, whatever.
Yeah. So they did the CT scan and stuff. And then the same thing happened trying to get back onto the bed. They still didn't help me to get there, but it's fine. Yeah.
They came back in after the CT scan and said everything looked great. Blood work, everything looked great. They did other tests, nothing. They couldn't find anything in any of them. They consulted with primary children's neurologist, and he said, there's no need for an MRI. We've done an MRI a year ago, so there shouldn't be any changes. So go ahead and just send her home. She's just stressed, and her limbs are turning off because of the stress.
Anxiety and stress.
I wanted to eat the ER doctor.
Yikes.
my mama bear was coming out of me, and I'm like, there's 5 hours ago she could walk, and now you're just telling me she's stressed. It was very frustrating.
I wonder if they've seen that before, that if they're like, oh, you can't walk, you're probably just stressed.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, then what happened? Lots happened.
We can be the same doctor that we consulted with, the neurologist. He was the one I went to.
This was before PT?
Yes.
Okay.
This was still in the ER when we consulted with
okay.
them. So this doctor that we consulted with, he was the one that we went to a few years, like
2 years ago.
2 years ago, about my hand tremor, that like my right hand would just like constantly tremor no matter what. And it started at like the end of the year during tests and everything. So when they told us I was just stressed, then like we believed him. It's like, I just need to relax. But like over 2 years, like it didn't stop. Like it was just all the time.
Just a constant thing.
Yeah. And so, yeah,
So being told that she was just stressed was just kind of like, we've been here before, which means you have no answers for us.
Yeah.
Because she still has a tremor. She still can't walk. And now you're telling us she's stressed. Without putting her in a bubble, how do you de-stress a 15-year-old that's in high school? I don't know. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So 2 days later, after I got home from the ER, I regained use of my neck and my right arm, which was super, super good, but I still couldn't like use my legs. Like I could move them, they would work, I could lift them up and everything, but I could not physically stand up without just falling to the floor.
So with her neck healing and getting better, we thought, okay, maybe it is going to just take some time. You're doing nothing for the next 3 days, no school, no friends, whatever. We're just going to chillax and de-stress.
Yeah.
Spa day.
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after I got asked to go to a school dance, and this was my first school dance, and so I was super excited. So I was determined to go. So like I put all my effort into like being able to walk and like retraining myself how to walk and everything. And my date was super good. He was always there to like, so I could like grab onto him in case I was about to collapse.
Yeah.
So that was really good. I was able to walk a little bit better, but then Sunday morning, right after the dance, I tried to stand up because I was like, I just did this all day yesterday. Like, I'm good. And I just collapsed to the floor again, and I wasn't able to walk, like, from there on out. And this was, like, the beginning of, like, the 7 weeks in my wheelchair.
So then you did ER, and the dance was, what, a week later, 2 weeks later?
Yeah.
Like 4 days later.
Oh, okay. So it was relatively
so it was quick,
soon.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And then you danced the night away, and next morning did not go well.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It was kind of just like emotionally, like I was just emotionally exhausted by that point. Just like, okay, well, it got better and now it's getting worse. It's like, I
feel like there was a lot of those throughout your experience too, where, hey, look, I'm standing. I can't take any steps though. Like I can't make my brain take steps. And then she would be completely unable to do anything. She would forget that she couldn't stand and she'd get out of bed and collapse on the floor. That wasn't so good.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch, but it wasn't so good.
Exactly. Yes. So I was determined to go to school after I collapsed because I was like, I have a lot of tests coming up. I need to be there to study, learn new material and everything. So I went to my first period and I had one of my friends. Oh, we went to cheer in the morning.
You went to cheer that morning.
Yeah, because my cheer
I had been in contact with the cheer coach telling her, okay, this is what's happening. This is what Kylie's like. Are you sure you want her to come to cheer? And she's like, yeah, that would be great if she could come. Okay,
Is
here
this a participation thing just to be part of the team, or was this a...
I'm pretty sure it was.
Okay.
So I help her hobble in, and she literally looks like a palsy patient. This poor, beautiful girl is just not able to walk. Her legs just wiggle and collapse. And so I walk her into cheer that morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, and the cheer coach just comes over. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this is this bad. I'm like, I've been telling you. So then we kind of had to tell the whole story to everybody. And she's like, I understand you don't have to come to cheer anymore until you are able to get this figured out. But she wanted to go to school. Yeah. Being not stressed, she also didn't want to stress about all the tests she was missing.
Sure.
So she was determined and wouldn't take the wheelchair, which we had in the car, to school. So she goes to first period and sneaks into class so nobody kind of sees her hobbling in.
Mm-hmm. I had one of my friends come and help me walk in because there was no other way I could get there without her. And so I like sneak into class like my mom said. And after class, I waited till everyone like left so I wasn't this like holding up the line trying to get out of class, you know. And my first period teacher comes over, and at the time I was super annoyed with him, but he was just like, you need to sit down right now. Like, this is not safe for you. This is not safe for your friend that's helping you. Like, you need to sit in his chair. He went and got his chair. And I was just like, no, I'm fine. Like, I can do it. I'm a big girl. I can do it.
Yeah.
I'm fine. And he was like, no, I've seen things like this happen before. Like, you need to get in this chair. You either need to get in this chair and I'm going to wheel you around the rest of the day, or you can go upstairs and you can call your mom and go home because this is not safe for you. And so I had two of my friends help me, and we went in the elevator up to the office. And I called my mom. I was just like sobbing. I was just like, my teacher isn't letting me go the rest of school. Like, he's being so mean. Like, I don't understand why he's doing this to me. I'm fine. And so my mom came to the school, and I had a huge group of friends that were in the library. So they all came, and they were like, okay, Kylee, like, if you want to go to school and participate in everything, you're going to have to be in the wheelchair. Like, it's not safe for you to be like this.
Sure.
So
Collapse down the stairs and hit your face.
Yeah, there'd just be so many more struggles and like injuries that could happen that way. And at the time, like, I didn't see that. I was just, I'm fine, you know?
Yeah. Well, I imagine there's also that social anxiety where, like, I don't want people to worry about me, to coddle me maybe, because no one likes that extra attention in a negative way.
Exactly.
What did you say taking the wheelchair to school would be?
It was social suicide. Like, it was literally, it was just like my worst nightmare. I like did not want anything like this to happen. But the office gave me a wheelchair that I used for the rest of the day. And
They just had one on
yeah, just
in the office.
casually had one. Yeah.
Yep. So she has this big group of friends that are all around her, giving her the support. She's crying, and everyone's just there. Kylee will help you. Kylee will take you.
That's fantastic.
You don't have to do this alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she hasn't. She hasn't been alone. She's had awesome support and friends and teachers and coworkers and all kinds of people reaching out to her through this whole process, which was good. Going through this was hard. It was hard mentally. We'd put on a pretty face and people would ask her, Kylee, how are you?
I was like, I'm great. How are you?
So great.
Yeah.
But we had lots of cry days. We had a lot of heart to heart and just feeling helpless and hopeless and unable to do anything. This was not my normal Kylee. She was a go-getter. She was busy. She was active. She didn't sit still. So to be in this state, it was hard. It was hard for everyone. Her siblings were awesome to help.
Good.
They got exhausted from
They
helping.
did get tired of it after 7 weeks, but they were awesome to help her.
Was
get
this to the
things
point where
and-
they'd have to help you with dressing in the morning, getting your hair ready from top to bottom? This was, you needed help.
I did.
Wow.
And like trying, like, I forgot my water. Will you go get me a water? I forgot this. Will you go get me socks? Like, just like little things like that I feel like everyone takes advantage of, like,
Takes
in
for
their
granted on a
life.
daily basis.
It was a 1 minute thing before when you could walk, but having to get back in the wheelchair and then roll out here and then do this, it was time consuming for sure.
Yeah.
And do you guys have is your house just on one level?
It is on one level.
Okay, so that's a blessing.
It is a blessing.
Yes.
My dad is actually paralyzed and lived with us for a short time while we were remodeling his house after his accident. And so we do have experience of getting somebody in and out of a wheelchair. So the whole wheelchair experience in and of itself wasn't new. I knew what to do. I knew how to prepare. I knew how to get her in and out and get her around our house. And I knew we were able to do all those things, but I didn't want to.
Sure. The inconvenience of it.
Yeah.
And not in a rude way, of course, by
No.
anyone who's suffering, but
There was a lot of times where I would just piggyback her in so we didn't have to get the wheelchair out. Oh, we're not going to be very long. It's not worth the time of getting the chair out. Just get on my back.
Yeah.
We'd piggyback her in.
A mama bear.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So after a while of being in the wheelchair, we still went to multiple doctors trying to figure out, okay, like we need to figure out what this is. So
And she's still dizzy.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So not able to walk and still dizzy.
And migraines as well, or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're still trying to figure out that, let alone not being able to walk.
Yeah. So we went and we scheduled an MRI, and like they do, they take a little bit of time to try and get back to us. So we were pretty impatient, trying to like, we need to figure this out. Like we're tired of waiting.
It was a Wednesday, so I expected at least by Friday I'd hear back from the doctor and be able to have results. And I still hadn't heard anything. Like, I need to move forward. If this is not what we need to do something else.
Yeah. So once we did the MRI, we got the results back, but nobody had read it yet. So we just had this random MRI trying to find people that would read it for us because the other offices wouldn't, like they were taking a long time to read it.
Interesting.
So thankfully, one of my good friends, his dad is a like specialized radiologist. Yeah. So we took the MRI over to him and he read it and everything. And he's like, I found that there's a slight type 1 variance in the cerebellum. So, but comparing the MRI that I had last year with my tremor, like it was like
0.5. So they said it was like a 2.5 millimeter variance. And her previous MRI was like a 0.2 millimeter variance. So it wasn't a huge difference. And as we were there at this friend's house and he's reading the MRI and going through all the images, the ENT actually calls us. And I step out to talk to her. And I said, wait, I'm going to just put you on speakerphone and let you talk to this friend. And you guys are going to know what you're talking about. Yeah. And so they did. They asked a few questions and went back and forth, but both saying the same thing, that this type 1 variance in their cerebellum, which is your balance part of your brain, shouldn't cause her to not be able to walk.
Sure.
Yeah. So at this point, we kind of just like lost hope. It was just exhausting. We got tired of doctors telling us, well, good thing it's not this. We're like, yeah, good thing.
But what is it?
Yeah.
Now where do we go? And I don't feel like we had doctors, even when they would tell us, good thing it's not this. Well, they didn't give us a direction. Where do we go from here? We had to just kind of do it ourselves.
Yeah.
I told Kylee, I'm not giving up. We're going to keep fighting this.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was super helpful, trying to stay active and having my mom there with me at every doctor's appointment. I feel like we really bonded through this experience, which was really good. And
almost too much.
Yeah.
There was times when she's like, but Mom, I need you to sit here so I can do something. Oh, sweetie, I love you, but I have other things that I have to do. But it was almost like a separation anxiety. It was like a comfort for sure to be together through this process.
Mm-hmm. So that's when one of our friends in our neighborhood, she told us about you.
Okay.
She's like, hey, I know this might be super crazy, but like, I want you to try it. I feel like this is going to help you. We're like, at this point, we're going to try anything. Like standing on our head, drinking pickle juice. If that's going to cure it, like, let's do it.
Never heard of that as a cure as a whole. But
I mean, we hadn't either, but it was worth a try.
Yeah, why not? So when the first time we walked into your office, like your front office was just super amazing. She was just super welcoming and just super loving and
so much energy, so much in being I don't know what the word I was looking for. Inviting.
Yeah.
We weren't just a number.
Yeah.
That, oh, this isn't for you. This isn't the next, Kylee, no.
Maybe that gloomy, just sign here, finish the paperwork, would you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
She was amazing.
And then when we went into your office, you were just so excited to see us. And like, that's something that we've never experienced with all the, we went to, I think we counted 13 doctors throughout my whole experience. And all of them were just like, okay, tell me what it is. But you're like, okay, like, let's figure this out. I'm ready. And that was super comforting. Just like your
just like you were just like, all right, let's take this. Let's take it as a challenge. We can do this.
Yeah.
That's what we needed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I find that giving people a little bit of energy gives them a little bit of hope.
For
and
sure.
I think it can make quite a difference. But
Yeah. And if you didn't know the answer, you were willing to try. You were willing to search it out and ask for help. And instead of, well, I couldn't help you. Goodbye.
Well, so the advantage that I have is I enjoy learning. And at any point in my career, if I think that I'm done learning, then I think that I should be done being a physician, because there's always something new to learn and always new information being shared.
Yeah.
And so as we've been talking, even though when you came in, I thought this ought to be interesting. I figure, why not first off try? And even though I consider myself to know a good amount of things, but I certainly don't know everything. And there's always I don't say a bigger fish, but a smarter fish out there. And that's who I called after the first visit. But go ahead and continue, and maybe they'll pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after the first appointment, like, it was super cool. Like, you did a series of pressure points, and it got my legs to tremor in a different way. Like, when I would try and stand up and balance, I still couldn't stand up by myself. But when I was like being held up, my legs would tremor slower than they were before, which was really cool to us. We're like, whoa, this is
Something changed.
pretty fun.
7 weeks of the same thing, and now it's different. It was,
It was super
definitely gave us hope.
exciting.
Well, if I could add as well, what was very interesting for me as the practitioner was typically as part of an injury. If you remember, I will assess the muscles in an area to find out what the muscles are responding. If they're holding, if they're strong, if there's stability there. What I found super interesting about your case as I was kind of doing this exam was, I didn't find a single muscle that was a problem. So for listeners who might have listened to previous episodes, the muscle inhibition is the idea that you have problems in a joint because the muscles aren't doing that thing. NPI, neural pathway integration, is the similar idea. I'm going to go further in a future episode, but it's a similar idea. It just doesn't happen to muscles. It happens to nerves. So when I was doing your exam and I thought, every single one of your muscles are doing what they should be, they just can't collaborate together. That's when I kind of went to the conclusion that you don't have a muscle thing going on here.
Right.
This is definitely a brain or cerebellar thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she had complete control of her legs and her no pain, no tingling. She just couldn't use them all together.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Mm-hmm. And after the first appointment, like, even though they would tremor in a different way, like, I still wasn't able to completely stand up by myself or walk by myself. Like, all my friends' houses that I'd go to, they all had stairs. So I'd just like slide or crawl down the stairs. And it was just, I found it amusing. I tried to stay super positive during this whole experience because I felt like seeing other people when they go through hardships like this, like, if they're super negative, it's a lot harder on them. And so I just tried.
And they're caretakers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Like, it's a lot harder to help a patient or help a family member if they are grumpy.
Yeah. And so I just tried still being active, tried going to all the school activities, still cheering at basketball games when I'm in a wheelchair and everything, just tried to be involved and still keep my life semi-normal, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
She had a night when all of her friends got together and they said, we need to borrow another wheelchair. And we're like, why do you need another wheelchair? Well, we're going to play games. So if we're going to play games, we need to have a wheelchair on both sides so that there's one person that has a disadvantage. And they were amazing to do that.
That's really nice.
They ended up having wheelchair races and all kinds of fun stuff. So she had some good friends to support her.
Yeah, definitely. I I definitely found my friends that are like true to me, and found like my fake friends and like the ones that really care about me.
The acquaintances.
Yes. Yes, which was good for me because I've been struggling with trying to decipher and like where to put boundaries and stuff. So that was also super helpful throughout this experience. So I don't remember if it was at the second appointment or the third after that I showed you like the video of me trying to walk. Do you remember?
The video, I think, was the third.
Yeah. Okay. So in between
it was after we had played with, because after that first visit, I made a phone call. Because as much, like I mentioned, as much as I know, I was like, there's something different about your case that I need to consult. So I consulted a neurologist up north who was one of the founders of the neural pathway integration. They know nerves. My master's degree is in nutrition, where theirs is very much neurology based. And even though I've had to teach and learn a lot of neurology in addition to what I have, there's no official piece of paper. But they have the official piece of paper, and they went into a lot more depth than I have. And so I made that phone call just to say, there's something else that I'm missing. The part of the body that I treated, the part of the brain that I treated to start the tremor process that you were like, oh, something changed. And we did notice a good change. It just didn't stick with me well, that I didn't have what I think I needed. So I made that phone call, and he's like, do you really have this case in your office? This is super cool. I hope you can get some videos and stuff like that on it, because we've never had, he's like, this by definition, just the way that your body's responding would be a cerebellar lesion. But if there's no MRI that shows it, the CT scan doesn't show it, then it would all have to be what we consider inhibition. And so he's like, that is going to be a super cool case. And he gave me a list of probably 15 to 20 treatments to start trying. And so that's when we did on treatment 2, we started trying.
Yes. And in between appointment 1, appointment 2, we actually had an appointment with a neurologist. They were able to get us into a neurologist in St. George, so we didn't have to drive up to Primary Children's, even though they don't usually see pediatrics. And we walk into her appointment, and especially after coming from your office, we walk in and she's like, tell me what's wrong. Anything else? Any other questions? Yep. Okay. Whatever. Like, she just was not involved. We are definitely a number, felt like a number to her. And their only recommendation was to do a lower lumbar MRI.
Okay, just in case there's a damage in your spine that's preventing your
pinch or something like that. That's
because
causing...
at this point, your arm had come back to be a little bit stronger.
Correct.
The dizziness and vertigo had mostly subsided.
Nope. I still had it. Yeah. Okay. So it wasn't until the second appointment when you treated me, and as soon as I sat up, the dizziness went away, my migraine went away, and I was able to stand up, and I literally walked out of that appointment. Like, I pushed my mom
it was the best
in my wheelchair out to the car, and from then on we just worked on trying to like be able to stand for longer periods of time and be able to take steps for longer periods of time as well.
Well, I remember after the second visit, you were walking, but you still had that tremor with each step.
Yeah.
That you could, and it was a visible, and it was an obvious tremor that I would find people who would say you were faking it. I would say it's very difficult to tremor in that way. From a physician's perspective, you can mostly tell by the speed of the tremor if the muscle is contracting when you're flexing your muscles to do it intentionally, or if it's just by itself.
And it wasn't like the same. Like, it would contract fast and slow and in different patterns. It wasn't like you were just, okay, look, I have a tremor. Yeah, it was unique.
And like thinking about that, trying to fake it, like after I regained like ability to walk, and now I'm like trying to like see what it would look like if I would fake it, and I'm not core enough to do like both legs and my hand at the same time. Like, it's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
What else?
You just continued to other appointments.
Oh, yeah.
So seeing Dr. Hall for several other visits, and each visit would just get better and better. as far as your tremors go, your strength. But being in a wheelchair for 7 weeks, you had a lot of strength to regain. You were very active. You were a gymnast. You were a cheerleader. And not using those muscles for that long, you could tell a serious change in your muscles, right?
For sure. And after like working with that, I decided like on New Year's, like, let's have a dance party. Like, I'm ready. I can do this now. And so that was super fun. I got to do that with all my cousins, and I just felt like I was back to normal finally. Like, I'd overcome this super hardship in my life, but I'm back to normal. And as I was dancing, I noticed my heart rate again. I was like, whew, it's kind of hard to breathe. It's really hot here. Yeah. And I look at my watch and my heart rate's at 199. And I was like, let's sit down for a second. Yeah. And so from then on, we just worked on trying to get my heart rate lower every time. And it decreased by like 40 beats per minute. Like after, like when I had another dance party, it only got to 152 or whatever.
Yeah.
But so that's been super good also. So
it took us probably all of 4, maybe 5 visits to get through most of the walking coordination, getting you out of the wheelchair and comfortable with moving. Is that about accurate?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we did the heart rate twice.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah. And before you worked on the heart and her heart rate, we had a monitor from Primary Children's that they had sent down. And we still haven't heard back from that.
So yeah,
it's been 4 weeks, 5 weeks. We still haven't heard back from them. So if it was something severe.
Because after the New Year's party, you went, oh crap, I don't want my heart to explode.
Right.
And so you went and got a monitor put on.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually,
we had ordered it when she was in Disneyland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it didn't come until like 4 days after New Year. So we're like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was a long period of time waiting for Primary Children's and waiting for like this original doctor to get everything to start treatment. Whereas we just like went to other doctors trying to figure it out, and then we found you, and things just progressed so quickly. It was just kind of annoying. We're like, oh my gosh, they've taken so long to try and get this to us.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was definitely something. But
something we were definitely grateful for.
Yeah.
Being able to have that quick response and see results rather than still waiting for results and waiting for regular doctors. I don't know how you're not a regular doctor, but the other medical professions just have a different take on their patients.
Yeah.
And then also, once you gave me like the okay to start going back to cheer, and everything was like the best day of my life, because I had just been dying for how long? It was like
9 weeks.
Yeah, 9 weeks was it? That I had been out of cheer because of dizziness or because I was in the wheelchair. And so like that was like the greatest day of my life. And the next day at cheer, I went and I showed up walking, and my whole cheer team just came and like gave me the biggest hug. And it was just super heartwarming, and just being like, oh my gosh, I'm actually a part of this team. Like, they've missed me, and that was super fun. And then I was like, hey, I'm ready. Let's tumble. Like, I'm ready for this. And so I got a few spots to make sure that if I did completely die, that they would be able to catch me. And it was the coaches that helped. So I wasn't relying on my other teammates, but I do trust them. I'm not trying to say that at all. So they spotted me, and I just like full send. Like, I did a round off back handspring back tuck, and it was so, I just like made my day. Like, I was so happy for the next like week and a half.
She was. There was a part of me that was a little scared.
Oh, I'm sure.
There was a little worried. I love that she can do that, and love that she loves to tumble. She's good at it. She's been doing it for 10 years. But there was a part of me that didn't want her to do that. I didn't want to go backwards. I didn't want to go back into the wheelchair.
Sure.
But then there was also that hope of, well, I guess if you stop walking, we'll go see Dr. Hall again and we'll see what else we need to do.
Well, I remember your worry when you came into the office. I think just after that, you asked pretty much the same question. You said something to the effect of, is it okay that she tumbles?
Yeah. Does she really have a lesion that is going to cause problems?
And you remember our response?
Yes, I do.
Because most physicians are very much let it rest, let it, the body needs to heal, which I agree with to an extent.
Right.
But after we've played with this part of the brain or this part of the body, and theoretically the inhibition should be repaired or reversed, then I want you to go challenge it, because if it doesn't hold, then it tells me that we didn't quite fix the entire problem.
We need to do something different.
That's exactly right. Because what you'll find with any of the NPI practitioners and many of the AMIT practitioners is we never treat the same thing twice. Because in my opinion, the definition of crazy is doing the same thing over and expecting a different response, right?
Right.
So very much we don't like to treat the same thing twice. Otherwise, it tells us we didn't get it right the first time.
Yeah, there's something else.
Right. I do also remember an experience that you shared with me. Was it a church party that you guys had, right? Where you walked in and everyone's like, what?
You're walking?
Yeah, that was definitely one of the also like highlights. Like I walked in and my best friend, she just came up and she was just sobbing. She was so happy that I could walk, and we just gave each other the biggest hug, and then we both like fell to the floor just crying. Not because I clapped, just like we were so happy to
so happy that this friend had been through all of this with her and through the hard times, and then for them to be able to walk again and be in the same level and be able to look each other in the eye, it was very heartwarming.
Yeah. And like seeing my best friend's mom, she also came and gave me a hug, and she was crying. And she's kind of like my second mom. She's also been super comforting throughout this. And I've just had, I've had a lot of wonderful people in my life that were super happy and that just comforted me throughout this whole experience.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. There definitely are a lot of good people in this world. Yes.
It takes a little bit of hardship to find them.
It does.
Sometimes, but why, we don't understand.
Yeah.
Yep. So after we got my walking ability back and my heart rate down, then we're like, okay, well, you fixed everything else. Let's see if you can fix my hand tremor that I've had for the past 2 years that we previously mentioned. And so you did one treatment or 2 treatments?
It was one visit, but I think we did a few treatments that one visit.
Yeah. And
because you started doing the longer visit, so we could get more done.
Yes, we're like, let's do this.
We're here. Let's do it.
Yeah. So, but after that, my hand tremor stopped, and it's still like to this day, I'm a little nervous today, but it's not vibrating.
It's not vibrating
like it was. It would vibrate all the way up my shoulder and stuff. But yeah, it's been super exciting. I'm not stressed anymore.
No more stress. I can walk and my hand moves for normal.
So really all I did was I help you reduce your stress.
De-stress. Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
Hey, if that's the solution, then I'm okay with it.
Right. Yeah.
I do want to add that you responded very quickly to care. So if anyone on this is listening and says, I want to try this therapy, I would love to say, bring it on, let's give it a try, but I can't, of course, guarantee that they will respond as fast as you did. I will say you will respond. But in my experience and in conversation as well with practitioners up north who trained me in this and who, kind of created the entire treatment protocol, that usually it's 3 to 4 visits to make steps. But even in 3 to 4 visits to make steps, in the grand scheme of things, if this is such a significant problem, most people, in my experience, they'll pay however many visits to be able to get even this amount of improvement.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And so that you responded very quickly was incredible and very comforting, I should say. But I just want to make it clear to any listeners that it's very you're the first person who responded that quickly.
Yes.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. Are there anything else that you'd like to add, or maybe questions you'd like to ask me, or maybe statements you'd like to make to the listener?
We have lots of statements. To put them all into words, though, I can't tell you how many people we've referred to you. And with this experience and being able to have the fast results, but understanding that it's not going to be fast for everybody.
Sure.
Trying to explain that to some is a little tricky.
Sure.
Trying to explain how you were this miracle worker of being able to get Kylee to walk is tricky to explain too. But to see her in motion and to know where she's come from and know where she is now, and even her hand tremor of, we've been dealing with this for 2 years and now all of a sudden it's gone. It's just, we are very grateful for your expertise, for your training, for your ability, and for our friend referring you to us. And we will just continue to refer anybody we can to you.
I appreciate it. I'm here to help. My goal is just to get people better.
Yeah.
And I think I remember telling you in the first visit as well, but I tell most of my patients that, hey, all I look for is improvement. And if we don't get that in the first 4 to 6 visits, then, my treatment may not be the right thing for your body, because every body heals differently.
Completely.
And if I can be that person, I would love to.
Yeah.
I think that's all that I had. Thank you very much for spending the time this morning on this podcast and sharing your story.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to share my story.
You're very welcome. I hope this continues in the future for yourself, that continues to stay nice and strong and healthy.
If not, we know where to go.
Yes.
We'll try something else.
So if I remember correctly, you went to one of the physicians that you went and saw. You told them that you were seeing a chiropractor for this, right?
Yeah, it was her primary care. We had done a follow-up appointment trying to help with the dizziness, and told her that we had been to a chiropractor and that she could walk and she was no longer dizzy, and their face just instantly dropped.
Yeah, like they just, like their interest in like, oh, you can walk? Like as soon as we said the word chiropractor, it was just like, oh, don't care. Like whatever. Like,
did that make you think that it was in your head, or what did he kind of give you the impression of then? Because if a chiropractor fixed the problem, then it couldn't have been a real problem.
Right.
I didn't think that at all, actually.
Okay.
I've my dad's had a lot of back pain throughout of his life, so going to a chiropractor was normal to me. And in my little brain, it just makes sense. If you have so many bones in your body, they need to be aligned. And the chiropractor, he's the one that does that. So for her to dismiss a chiropractor was kind of maddening. Like, why can't you believe that this has helped? Why can't you believe that this is
right? And
our
like,
answer?
After all the doctors we went to, we finally found someone that's helping me. Like, we just didn't understand, why can't you be like happy for us?
Yeah,
like,
why
join
can't you
us,
celebrate this?
Join us in the celebration.
13 doctors couldn't. One was the answer, and it happened to be a chiropractor, and we love that.
Yeah.
We love that experience.
Yeah, most people come to my office, they don't say, they will say something effective, you need to change your title somehow because you're not a chiropractor. And I'm like, well, legally, I am a chiropractic physician.
Yes.
I've gotten into some things and some treatment styles and some things that I can help with that aren't typical or standard chiropractic issues, like the balance, dizziness, vertigo, like the cerebellar problems. We'll just keep it nice and vague. But yeah, it's pretty, I get that a lot. We get a lot of conversations with other physicians, and they'll relatively dismiss most chiropractors because they find it quackery, if you will.
Right.
But in my opinion, as long as healing is being done, as long as the patient finds improvement, then does it matter? Does
it matter? No. I would love to get you connected with sports medicine and be able to get with all these teams where everyone's having injuries and not able to play because of their injuries, and being able to go to you, or you be on the sidelines and be able to help recover those athletes quickly. That would be amazing.
I invite people I love to do that. I've actually, the local lacrosse team, I've done a couple of things with them on their field. I'm always asking for opportunities to help people. That's my goal. My goal is to help people.
Yeah.
I actually have a, what's it called? A booth that I'm going to donate a couple days at a soccer tournament here in town.
Yay!
Just to fix people's ankles, because there are a lot of those kids who they roll an ankle and oh my gosh, it's a big problem, and they have pain the rest of their tournament or longer, and they just deal with it. It's growing pains. You'll be fine. And you'll grow out of it. And so a lot of people will say, you got to go see this doctor. He'll be able to fix it. And they'll say, well, it's a chiropractor. There's no way I'm going to go to a chiropractor for an ankle thing. Chiropractors do neck and back stuff. And so you just got to go, and most people don't. And so I'm trying to just find opportunities to say, hey, no, it's not about the money. I just want to get you better.
Right.
And so let me find an opportunity to come and treat some of you guys and some of these kids to get them better. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you.